Hi, my name is Lula Biondi, and these are my 5 audience members. Today, I'm here to tell you about transgender participation in sports. I'd like for the audience to imagine a world where everyone has the opportunity to compete in sports, regardless of their gender identity, just anybody in the LGBTQ community. Now, consider the complexities and debates surrounding transgender athletes' participation in competitive sports. Today, I aim to inform you about the advantages and disadvantages of transgender participation in sports. I've conducted extensive research on this topic and have engaged with various stakeholders in the sports community to form a well-rounded perspective, something non-biased that I can talk about freely. Today, I will cover how transgender participation in sports provides gender equality, gives the LGBTQ community a sense of acceptance, but refuses female athletes the right to privacy and can be viewed as unfair in the sports community. Now that I've summarized what I'm going to discuss, let's dive deeper into the topic, starting with my first pro, providing gender equality across the world of sports. Transgender athletes participating in sports align with the principles of inclusion and equal opportunity. For instance, Joanna Harper, a medical physicist and transgender runner, argues that inclusion policies are essential for promoting gender equality. This came from Joanna Harper in 2015. Secondly, an international committee called the International Olympic Committee, IOC for short, recognizes the importance of inclusivity as it has guidelines that allow transgender athletes to compete under certain conditions, aiming to balance and making the sport fair and equal. This was a meeting in 2015 as well. My second pro is that this participation provides a sense of acceptance. Sports participation can be very just a way for people to gain acceptance and visibility in their community. Chris Mosier, a transgender triathlete, has become a role model within the community by breaking barriers in sports. I got this from Mosier's interview in 2020. It came from ESPN. Studies show that involvement in sports can significantly improve mental health and social support among LGBTQ youth, which is critical for everybody's overall well-being. This came from a survey that was performed in 2021 by the Youth Sports Participation. Now that I've explained the advantages of this topic, let's view the other side of the argument. One con that many people have made very prevalent in this argument is that transgender participation in sports refuses female athletes their right to privacy. Concerns arise regarding the privacy of female athletes when sharing facilities with transgender individuals. How many of my audience members have heard about the Lia Thomas incident in 2024? Yeah. A survey conducted by Women's Sports Foundation felt that some female athletes feel their privacy is compromised in such scenarios. This came from a stat called the Women's Support Foundation in 2022. Another example is that legal cases in the one involving high school runner Selena Sewell have sparked debates on privacy rights versus inclusion policies in sports. This came from the case study Sewell versus Connecticut Association of Schools in 2020. My last con is that transgender participation can be viewed as unfair. Many people make the point that if you have a male athlete competing in a female sport, that the male who's transitioned to a girl may be a little bit stronger naturally. Critics argue that psychological advantages may persist for transgender women even after hormone therapy, potentially impacting competition fairness. A study by sports medicine researchers highlight these concerns in the Sports Medicine Analysis in 2021. This was an expert testimony. Instances like the victories of transgender cyclist Rachel McKinnon have fueled discussions about competitive equity and the need for clear regulations. This came from McKinnon's race cycling results in 2019. She happened to win the race, but many of the other females involved in this sport felt it was unfair. Now, to recap, I'd like to go over my pros and cons again. Number 1, for a pro, it provides gender equality all around the world. Many people can get together and play the sport and feel like they have become one with their team or with the sport. Number 2, it provides a sense of acceptance in the LGBTQ community. Everybody here who plays a sport, if you play one or is an extracurricular, knows the sense of joy or triumph that you get when you win a race or you win a basketball game or a volleyball game. And this is what these people would be feeling right now. However, a con is that it refuses female athletes the right to privacy, as it can be viewed as inappropriate to let a biological male be in a girls' locker room. My last con is that it can be viewed as unfair, as males are typically stronger than women, and in physical sports like wrestling or swimming or running can be seen as unfair because of the unfair advantages they have. Today, my purpose here was to explain to you the pros and the cons of transgender participation in sports. Now that we're nearing the end, think to yourself, should a full-grown man be allowed to compete in an all-female sport? Should we make a whole other category just for the LGBTQ community? Thank you.